I don't care.
Yeah, I always have fun, and that's why we're already live, and you didn't know it.
I saw the cute little button pop up there. It's all good.
Okay. Good evening, entrepreneurs. Joe DeChara coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York for another amazing interview. And this guy is well prepared. You could tell because he already has his hashtag thing up there. And why don't I have that? I have to ask my team. I'm like, I think we're going to have to, well, this is going to go on YouTube, and then I'm going to have my team study it because I know you have a lot to share and you're going to teach us a lot. Is that right, Eli?
That's the goal. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to share some cool stuff, and hopefully everybody enjoys it, and we'll go from there.
And if you're watching live, give us a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay, because somebody that knows about Facebook analytics told me to do that. and I try to listen to people that know a lot more than me. So
there you go.
And I met Eli, a couple of weeks ago through another webinar workshop.
Yeah, it was Tim Gillette's event.
Right. Oh, I didn't want to plug Tim. I'm trying to get money from him. I'm trying. Okay.
Well, so here's the deal. That was his freebie. Okay. So that was his freebie. Tim, when you're watching this, that's your freebie. We gave you some kudos. Now cough up some cash, my friend.
or trade. I'm willing to barter with people. There's magic in exchanging knowledge and info, right?
There definitely is.
Yeah. So, I think what attracted me to you was you actually know what you're talking about.
I try to. At least,
and you've been, like me, you've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
And okay, we have some connections here. Lee is like, hey, Lee, this is the 2 times today we connected.
Awesome.
But anyway, so the truth is, here's the truth, folks, being transparent. We were supposed to both do breakout sessions in Tim's event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to do my tax stealth strategies. And everybody had to choose between your breakout or my breakout.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose your breakout.
Which is greatly appreciated, by the way.
Well, and then it made it easy because anybody that wanted I was like, I'm done. I'm sick of talking about taxes for a couple of weeks. It was the end of tax season, but you laid out the plan. When I see, I'm visual, I'm analytic, and you just put the roadmap up there. And I talk a lot about roadmaps.
Mm-hmm. And that really is what it is. The goal is that in anything you do, I mean, from your standpoint of finances, from my standpoint of the marketing, follow-up, and building relationships, it is a journey. And how do you go from point A to point B without getting lost in between? That's really what our goal is. And if you think about before we had GPS, you would pull out a roadmap. You would pull out a map and say, okay, I'm here. I want to end up over here. Here are the steps I need to go along the way.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if this is a point or something, but an observation. When I did that, I never got lost. When I had a real roadmap,
yep.
It was like, okay, exit this, turn left. It was all planned out.
And it doesn't yell back at you.
Yeah. It's become a lot more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really, I think in business, we need to have that. And from my standpoint, I always look at things. I was actually talking to somebody earlier today, and the idea was, how do you create a client journey? And we've heard that kind of phrase before. But how do we actually plan that out and think about that from every little step across the way? I like to go back and give credit to where credit's due with my very first mentor in the internet marketing space. That was a guy by the name of Armin Morin. And the most important critical thing that I learned from him out of all the cool stuff I learned was 3 magic words: next logical step.
I have that on my post-it here.
There you go. Next logical step. And if you stop and think of that when you think about talking to anybody, honestly, but you start from that person that you first connect with, whether that be online, face to face, because that's a connection at that point. You don't even know if they're a prospect yet. So prospect goes into, or a connection goes into a prospect, goes into a client, goes into a referral, goes into lifetime clients. And that's the fun stuff. I mean, I've got clients who've been with me for 25 years, and it's all about building that journey.
I understand that, because I was having a conversation with, my team, and we were going through, because we have, a database, and we fill in like when the client started.
Yep.
So I was going through the database with them. We come to one of my friends, and he's been a client since like 1989. And one of the women said, "That's before I was born." and I have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
But that happened, not by design.
Yeah.
If I had the plan, I'd have a lot more clients like that, because I didn't map it out like you do. And we're linear people, right? We, somebody told me this today. They're like, it was a client that was analyzing me. The whole disc thing, but she was right on. She's like, you go from A to Z in your brain.
Yep. And every letter in between.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm mapping out, okay, the first step is contact, right? How do we get contact? Without asking them to marry us.
Yeah. So,
and then like, what's the next? But this is the dilemma for me as an entrepreneur. I know I'm an accountant, I'm linear, I can do flow charts.
Right.
But it's been torture trying to go from A to Z for myself, because I can't put myself in my client's situation, if that makes sense.
It does, but I think I'm going to challenge you on that for a little bit, because you want to actually think about them in their situation. First and foremost, your clients. I mean, you've been around for a long time. The clients, what they're looking for, what they need, what their likes, stuff like that. You don't know any of that? Okay.
No.
Well, then I'm going to.
I thought I knew. Thought I knew, to be honest with you.
So I'm going to give you one thing right now that's going to make a big difference. Go pick 5 people off of your client list. Pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can we jump on a Zoom call, or if they're close enough, go get coffee or whatever." In person is always best, but obviously we live in a world where that's not always possible. And I would just love to just chat with you and pick your brain on what's going on in your world. I want to know more about you. And literally, I mean, make sure that there's crystal clear. You are not pitching them on anything. It is there just to get to know them. That's a coffee talk. That's how I grew my first business, was literally in coffee shops, just having coffee with people. And the best times, the best business that I have done since then, with what I've grown in my business right now, is I go to events as a speaker. I was traveling across the world all the time. Luckily, we're finally starting to get to go back to some of that, which is awesome. I just got a thing booked in Philadelphia for next month, which I'm pretty excited about. But really, the speaking is awesome. I love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do. But honestly, the best thing is after I speak, people coming up, asking me questions, and me going, "Tell you what, I'm going to be grabbing about 10 people and going to dinner tonight. Why don't you join us?"
Cool. That's how you meet. That's how you meet cool people.
Exactly. That is exactly it. Because nothing builds a better relationship than that kind of situation. Now, we can't always do that. We live in a virtual world. We have people all over the world. So, you know what? Go, do what I call a virtual coffee date. I've been doing virtual coffee dates for about 15 years now. Back before Zoom existed, before any of this stuff. I mean, I think Skype may have been the first one. I may have actually used something even before that. But literally, I go someplace first thing in the morning before my meetings start. I go get coffee. That way I can come back and have the cup. And I have a cup of my coffee from whatever coffee shop I would normally go to.
Okay.
In order to have a good conversation. And all we do is we just chat. I get to know them.
So that's your technique. And the bottom line is you got to get to know them. And I have some mentors Haley Gray, where we're actually going live. We're streaming live in her group, and she has like close to 80,000 women entrepreneurs.
Nice.
And so I listen to people.
Yeah.
And
And there's 80,000 people right there. Go find, say 5 again. We're just going to go with 5 because it's simple, and just reach out to them and say, I would love to just chat with you.
There's 80,000 people, but this is what Haley taught me. You got to connect with one of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What if I got 80,000 clients all at once and I don't know any of them?
Your head would explode.
It happened. I know what happens.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So I didn't know what my clients really wanted.
Okay.
So one of my friends, one of my mentors, John Limbacher, said, you got to keep drilling down. Mm-hmm. You got to keep asking. They're like, yeah, I want a successful business. Why? So I have money. Why? Well, so that I could live. Well, how do you want to live? Why? And you keep drilling down. So that's why I didn't know what my client was thinking. I wasn't in, maybe 40 years ago, I was in their position.
Yeah.
So, and things change, so that's why. So now how do we now I think I have an idea of what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. Because they told me, well, I hired you because I don't want problems with the IRS.
Right. Which is not wrong, but there's more to them than that. And that's the key. Well, let's go back to basic business 101. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. Okay. They have to get to know you before they can make a decision if they like you. And usually that's when trust is built. You have certain people, attorneys and doctors. A lot of times they can skip the middle one because, you might get to know them and you trust them. You may not necessarily like the guy, but they're about the only ones that get away with it. The rest of us actually have to work, and we have to build those relationships because, especially in today's world, we are in such a flooded. The world has gotten so small. It really has, because we've opened up to so many opportunities. I mean, how many attorneys or financial advisors, people that would be even remotely close to what you do, are out there? I mean, there's literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people, and you have to stand out. And the easiest way to stand out is just acting like you actually care. It really isn't that difficult. But by doing that alone, it makes a difference. People see that you actually care. That's where it builds that KLT factor.
KLT, what's that?
Know, like, and trust.
Know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And that's where I got sidetracked with social media, because I said, oh my God, I could connect with the whole world. Mm-hmm. And then people started saying it's about relationships.
It is about relationships. Everything you do is about relationships. And I'm seeing in the chat here, I don't know if you're going to bring this up, but I see Lee just popped in here and said, I've been listening to you in Haley's group. I decided I liked you when I had a problem and contacted you. That's exactly what we're talking about. This is, she got to know you. And it may not have been in the one-on-one yet, but you added value up front, showed you cared up front. And then she was like, okay, I like that dude. I think I want to have a conversation with them. And that's where that brings that into play.
That's how I felt with you and Tim's event.
And thank you.
And I was like, what? I would like to have a cup of coffee with this guy. Where are you anyway?
I am in Portland, Oregon currently.
Okay, cool. Yep. We don't have any clients in Oregon yet, so we should talk offline if you need any bookkeeping or tax advice. But yeah, I found, Haley got me on Facebook Live because she said it worked for her.
Yep.
And I try to listen to people, and I started making a lot of connections. I didn't know people were following me. And then people like Lee, she said, I think Lee's been following me for like a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I believe in your mindset that you got to make that human connection, right?
Yeah.
So if you get 1,000 people at an event and you get 10 of them to dinner, that's a huge victory for you, right?
Oh yeah. Now here's the other thing is let's say we don't have 1,000 people. Let's say we have 100 people and I get 10 people to come have dinner with me. That's 10% of the room. What about the 90%? What's left? Now, this is how I took my methodology and the way I think and start putting it into a system, because we are human. We will drop the ball. And so I started building out conversations, realizing that I was having conversations with people over and over and over again, and they were exact same conversations over and over and over again. And we all have these wonderful tools, everything from Keep, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign. I mean, there's tons of them out there, right? And we have the software, and it's CRM software. It does email automation. It's a follow-up system, but no, most people are not using it for that. They're using it for a blast email newsletter, which nobody reads anyway. So let's put it in place in a real conversation. So just because you have an email that goes out, and let's say I sent you an email, and we're just using this example, Joe. So I send you an email that says, I just finished reading The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. This is an awesome book. I think you should read it. It's a quick, easy read. It'll take you 2 or 3 hours. Read it over the weekend. Let me know what you think on Monday.
I read that a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So when I recommend that to you, did you get value?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a recommendation.
Oh, wait, I have that also. Add value that has nothing to do with me.
Bingo. Because I added value, it has nothing to do with me. It's not a pitch. It's not my book. If you do this with your book, you ruin it. Okay. Because even though your book might have the solution or add value, which it should, if you're selling your book, even if it's a digital book and it's 99 cents, that 30 cents is still that kills the value. Okay. And this is not to say you can't ask for the sale. You should be asking for the sale. You're in business for a reason. I'm one of the first people to say, I am a capitalist. I like to make money, but it doesn't have to be about that all the time. And so by adding something like that, where I just say, hey, here's a book that I recommend. I read it. This is why I like it. Here's a link. Check it out. Let me know what you think. One of the things that happens with this, and this is why it's so powerful, is you notice the last sentence there. Let me know what you think. I just opened a dialogue.
Okay, so let me stop you there. I told you I like to keep these to 20 minutes or less. We could go on for hours. I know that. You know that.
I can go on for days.
But I think the point is that you got to have that connection.
Yeah.
Right? And there's steps to it, right?
Yep.
And then once you have that connection, it's almost like when you meet your dream person, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, do I call them? How long should I wait? Then you start Googling it and you're like, what's the next step? And you don't know unless you have somebody telling you or you by trial and error, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's like.
Yeah. And so that's what I do with clients is we actually help people with the timing, the methodology, the language, because language is key. Language is communication. And that's what we do. We actually help you build out a system. My personal system, the front end name, we call it the ultimate follow-up system. It's also AKA Eli's if Eli gets hit by a bus campaign, because if I were to go outside and get hit by a bus today, I'm still going to sell you stuff for 3 more years.
Well, yeah, that's what got. I didn't want, I don't want to see Eli get hit by a bus, but I'm like,
no.
I
will clarify real quick. I'll just stop you for 1 second. I'll clarify you. I do look both ways before crossing every stage. Okay? Just to put everybody's mind at ease.
But I don't know if that was a marketing, like an NLP technique to get my attention. But what I left with was, wait, 3 years after I'm not here.
Yep.
Because I want to leave a legacy. I'm like,
yeah.
How do we stretch that out to like forever?
Yeah, and you can do that.
I know you can. It's actually possible.
Oh yeah, we start clients with 1 year. Once you learn the process and the flow and the structure of it, you can keep adding to it. When I started it, I wrote 4 emails or 6 emails once a month, which always gave me a little bit more than I needed. I put an email out every week. Next thing I know, I had 3.5 years done. And
Wow.
that campaign still works, still runs today. I've tweaked it, modified it, added to it, all that kind of stuff. You can keep going as long as you want, or you can stop at some point, because, for 3.5 years, to be perfectly honest, most people are not going to remember it. If I go back to the beginning and start it all over, they're not going to remember. So you can, it's up to you, but it is about creating evergreen content that works forever. And then that way, if you get sick, take a vacation, you just don't feel like doing anything that week, something still happens.
I think that might be a better way to describe it. Like, what if you wanted to go on a 3-year vacation?
Yeah.
Instead of the bus thing.
But I don't get near as many reactions that way. Sorry.
So it is NLP. Okay.
It is. Yeah, it is a very specific.
As long as so you're being transparent now. I
catch people's attention with that one. And I get a good laugh out of it. If I said, if I want to go on vacation for 3 years, people go, "Oh, that's cool," but it's not the same.
You didn't hit like the pain point, right?
Yeah.
Because I said, what if I'm not here?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to get buried in a freaking pine box.
Yeah. And obviously there's some things that would have some logistics that we have to deal with that. But the idea is build it to last, build it evergreen, but still make it relationship based. Yes.
And I follow my friend John Limbacher's philosophy, which is, he says he's lazy. He likes to make money when he's sleeping.
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
Here's my thing. I always say that I strive to be lazy. I put automation in place so I can be lazy. The problem is I have 1,000,001 ideas going on at all times. I think one of my favorite quotes came out of the remake of Alice in Wonderland, the one with Johnny Depp in it, and was Alice is talking to her dad, and he says something about, we're different, we're strange. We usually have 6 great ideas before breakfast. That is kind of how my brain works. So I'm always coming up with new stuff. So my plan of becoming lazy keeps not happening because I just come up with more fun stuff to do.
Okay, so you're just like me. We're the same.
Yeah.
How do people get in touch with you, Eli?
The easiest way to get in touch with me is go to connectwitheli.com, and it is ELY. That's very important. Connectwitheli.com. And from there, you can find all my social media sites, my website. You can download my contact information, all that kind of stuff. And there's even a spot to book on my calendar. And to be perfectly honest, I love to just chat with people. I mean, it's right above my head. It says meet cool people. So book a call with me. I would love to chat with you, get to know your business. It's not a pitch. If we think that the conversation can lean that way, we'll have that conversation. If not, I'm okay with it either way. But no matter how you connect with me, please, please, please do me one big favor. Tell me you connected because of Joe, because that is what's important. I get 10 to 15 new connection requests on the various platforms every single day. The people who send me a message and say, I heard you on this show and this thing stood out to me, they always get put to the bottom or the top of the list, and I will reach back out to you and we'll start a cool conversation.
I appreciate that, and I'm going to try to add that to my close every time I do one of these.
Definitely.
So this has been awesome. Any parting words of wisdom for people just starting out, because that's a lot of our audience just starting out?
Think of every communication, no matter what, whether it's an email, a text, a letter, phone call, whatever it is. Imagine sitting down across from that person over a cup of coffee, just getting to know them. And it doesn't matter if it's one person or 1 million people, the conversation is still the same. You're just getting to know them. You're just sharing good value information, but you talk to them like a one person, not a newsletter. It's not a you guys or you gals. It's a, how are you doing today? What's going on with you? I'd love to hear what's going on in your business and elicit people to respond back, start a dialogue. It's never about a monologue. It's always about a dialogue.
I love that. Would you mind if I added some value for people?
Sure.
Right now, because it came from my first mentor, who is still a great friend. He's a cousin. He's still a mentor. And he recommended I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Amazing read. I will say I generally do not recommend the book just because a lot of people get scared by a thicker book. But that is literally the only reason. It is a phenomenal book. If you're ready to actually read a real book, then yes, definitely read it. It will change your life. I usually do the ones that are short and easy. They can read it in an hour or two because we live in an ADD world.
They don't need to read it unless they're like me and they need the hard cover and put it in there. You know, that's my thing.
I have that actually on a bookshelf right over here.
Okay, you don't need to read it because you just watched this discussion, and you can just follow Eli's advice. And that's our story, and we're sticking with it, folks. Thank you, Eli. God bless. And we will be back again tomorrow for some more exciting information. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.